Childhood movies we want to see remade by Auteurs. Well, no, not really, but if remakes are here to stay, we might as well have some fun with them. Disney announced last week that West Side Story's Rachel Ziegler will be starring in yet another remake, this time of Disney's first feature-length animated film, Snow White. Riding on the coattails of Cruella's success, the news is no surprise, as fans have been told to expect a remake of every Disney classic. Not every remake is created equal, though. Most of the time, they are dreadful reminders of the greed at the heart of industry filmmaking.
And to show I bear no ill will, I too shall bestow a gift.
There are several signs pointing to West Side Story being an exception. Firstly, the fact that it is based on the musical itself, not the film version, is a small consolation, nonetheless helpful. Second, the film version itself, although beautiful and breathtaking at times, is dated in its non-Hispanic casting and musical voiceover choices. Third, it is directed by one of the giants of American cinema, our very own Steven Spielberg. Spielberg is the king of blockbusters and creator of so many classics.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Any remake is likely to be in good hands when those hands belong to a visionary. What if other critically acclaimed directors, auteurs even, decided to take on remakes? It's a rhetorical question. The answer, in reality, is definitely no, God, please no. However, wouldn't it be great if a film you loved as a child was reinterpreted in a fresh way by a solid director to satisfy you as an adult?
Golly, sisters!
We were blessed with Nancy Meyer's 1998 version of The Parent Trap. Her distinct style did wonders and gave us major vineyard envy. If remakes are here to stay, we might as well have fun with them. Here's a look at some possible childhood film remakes that will hopefully exist only in our dreams. Holes, the Coen brothers. This is the most natural one to place. Stemmed from me actually having to look up who directed Holes recently because it reminded me so much of a Coen film.
I'd appreciate it if you'd deposit your weapon in the receptacle by the swinging doors.
For one thing, the film already stars one of their collaborators, Tim Blake Nelson, who starred in Oh Brother Where Art Thou and The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. The dry western landscape, southern accents, rough villains wearing cowboy hats, and mythical storytelling elements are a perfect recipe for a Coen classic. Take out the idyllic pool party ending, and the only ingredients missing are a few curse words, some grittier violence, and a protagonist who is not that great of a person. Matilda, Wes Anderson. To be clear, Danny DeVito's directing skills are applaudable in this quirky, hilarious film about a girl whose love of reading turns into telekinetic powers.
I'm smart, you're dumb. I'm big, you're little. I'm right, you're wrong.
DeVito's Matilda messes around with color, architecture, and matter-of-fact delivery of certain wild lines. The most natural director to elevate these elements is Wes Anderson, who lives for quirky stories about damaged people. He's already adapted one Roald Dahl story, The Fantastic Mr. Fox. His Matilda could even work well as a stop-motion film.
All right, take 3.
For a man who loves literature and loves to showcase literature in all of his films, an allegory for getting kids to want to read does not sound that far off. Alas, a film adaptation of the Matilda musical is already underway at Netflix. The Lizzie McGuire Movie, Sofia Coppola. Again, already an excellent film, and actually holds up to this day. The Lizzie McGuire booty shake was a cultural high point, but if there's anyone who is passionate about women being themselves and going on spiritual journeys, it's Coppola. If you think about it, Lost in Translation is basically the Lizzie McGuire movie for an older audience. In Coppola's version, the relationship at its center would be Lizzie and Isabella, as the similar-looking but very different girls bond, and grow with different perspectives on how life is and how it can be. We would get some great shots of Lizzie staring out of her hotel room, thinking about her uncertain future. Triple the dreamy romance sequences, the fashion show would be extended, and the revenge against Paolo would be way more intense. Poison mushrooms, anyone?
This is what dreams are made of.
Coppola comes from an Italian family. I'm sure she knows a thing or two about capturing Rome's romance. How the Grinch Stole Christmas, Guillermo del Toro. Hear me out on this one. What is more Del Toro than a non-CGI monster, misunderstood by the world, an outcast who is really just lonely, but with a true darkness in him that can come out if necessary? If The Grinch were to take a dark turn, Del Toro is the man to take it there.
I hate Christmas!
The true meaning of Christmas and the hypocrisy of the townspeople are all fair game for this auteur who loves to tell mythical stories with political connotations. Is Mayor Mayhew even an elected official? How long has he been in office? These are all valid questions we need answered in a remake.
You hate Christmas. You're gonna steal it.
Max's backstory is also a mystery. Del Toro's experience pulling on heartstrings will definitely come in handy here. Jim Carrey has already proved his capability with drama as well. His reprisal of the role is necessary to this remake. Freaky Friday, Lulu Wang.
Don't start with me, and those clothes are going back first thing tomorrow.
To be fair, the 2003 version of Freaky Friday is already a remake of the 1976 version. If we're going to Star is Born with this one, might as well be with a director who is capable of relaying family dynamics in the struggle of generational splits. Wang could bring some serious depths to the story about a mother and daughter who struggle to understand each other. Wang's version could turn into a story about real problems between first and second generation Americans.
Because I said so.
Cookie?
Not to mention the mysticism of the film is rooted in fortune cookie magic. I feel like some authenticity when it comes to representing Chinese culture would be helpful, considering the fortune cookies aren't even Chinese. Closing thoughts. As great as these films are, there is a clear distinction between the childhood, young adult films of the late 90s, early 2000s mentioned above, and those of the 80s. In reality, the above films could be remade, and it wouldn't be as major a crime as, say, Breakfast Club or E.T. remake. The reason why that is pretty clear. John Hughes and Steven Spielberg. They are two directors with a distinct style who put their irreplaceable flair into all their films, no matter how young the audience. Maybe I'm on to something after all.